Assalamu alaikum. My name is Basit Ismail from the Department of Computer Science, and the topic that I'm going to discuss today is Introduction to Programming from the subject Computer Programming with the course code 6900. So what is computer programming? Computer programming is a set of techniques that allows us to communicate with computer and to get it to work for different problem solving. It helps us to automate repetitive tasks which require repetition or which can be simplified are usually solved through using programming via computers. It also enables us to start the development of applications that can be used for different purposes, for weather detection, for stock change prediction. It is being used in different and diverse fields such as healthcare, finance, in engineering, education, and development. Furthermore, computer programming is also used in new and demonstrative techniques such as AI and data science and IoT meaning Internet of Things. So, what are the two basic phases of a programming task? The computer programming task can be divided into two phases: implementation phase, which is the second phase, and problem solving phase, which is the first phase. The problem solving phase is mostly based on analysis and analytics. You are trying to determine the main steps in which the problem you have encountered, and you are trying to develop a set of steps that are to be followed for the solution of that specific problem. Okay. So, these set of sequences or these set of steps are also called algorithm. We usually develop two kind of methodologies. We usually use those methodologies for problem solving phase, which are pseudocode and algorithms. In the implementation phase, we are usually trying to implement the solution which we have developed in the form of in the problem solving phase and to be applied in some language, be it C++ or Python or Java or be it any other language. So, the basic steps in problem solving. First of all, whenever we encounter a problem that is to be solved with programming, we first of all write its pseudocode. Pseudocode are the steps of problem solution in English like language. For example, you are trying to write these steps to solve the problem in English like language closer to English and not very closer to programming itself. Then after the pseudocode has been written, it is refined, it is improved upon, and then we move towards writing an algorithm. An algorithm is more closer to the actual programming language, however, it is not yet the programming language itself. So, here what does it say on the slide? It says that pseudocode is an artificial and informal language that helps programmers develop algorithms, and pseudocode is very similar to English language. Here on this slide we encounter pseudocode. If we see, the pseudocode is developed for a program that takes the marks of 4 subjects, sums up those marks, and then gives you the average. And if the average is above 50%, then the person is pass, otherwise he is fail. So, let us go over the pseudocode. First, on the first step, what we are doing, we are trying to take the 4 marks of the subjects. In the second step, what we do, we apply the formula of average. What is the average? We take the sum and then divide it by the total number of subjects. We calculate the average by summing and dividing by 4. If the average is below 50, then we say that the person is fail. However, if the average is above 50, then we say that the person has passed the course. Okay. So, now we have seen the pseudocode of that specific program. Now, if we move toward the algorithm of that specific program, then we can see that the algorithm is more closer to the actual programming language, and it is having less words as compared to the pseudocode. For example, in the pseudocode we see there are a number of words, and in the algorithm we have very less words as compared to the pseudocode. One more difference which can be highlighted is the presence of steps. For example, in the algorithm we have highlighted the steps, step 1, step 2 and step 3. However, in the pseudocode these steps are there, but these steps are not as specified, they are more generic. Okay. So, let us discuss the algorithm. In the first step, what we do, we take the input of M1, M2, M3 and M4. Here M1 or M means subject. Okay. We are taking the subject marks and we are designating it by saying M1, M2, M3 or M4. M1 means subject's marks of subject 1, M2 means subject marks of second subject, and M3 means and so on. If we are to calculate the grade of that specific person for these subjects, what we do, we apply the formula. What is the formula of calculating average? We add M1, M2, M3 and M4. When the addition results in a specific number, then we divide it by the number 4, because they are 4 subjects. So, this is the formula for calculating the grade. Now, in the third step, we have to decide whether the person has passed the course overall or not. So, what we do, we check the grade of that person. If the average is less than 50%, then that person is fail. However, if the average is greater than 50%, then that person is pass. One more thing that you have to consider is that here we are using specific keywords. These words are decision structures. Okay. So, we are using if and if. We will discuss these in more detail in the later chapters. Okay. The last thing that we have to develop before actually writing a program is the flowchart. So, what is the flowchart? Flowchart is a set of symbols that are used to represent the different steps that we have developed in the algorithm, the step 1, the step 2, the step 3, in the form of a schematic diagram, in the form of a diagram. What is the first step, what is the second step, from where we are starting, from where we are making decisions. If we are making decisions, there is a specific diagram for that. If we are taking input, there is a specific diagram for that, and so on and so forth. So, what does it say technically? A graphical representation of the sequence of operations. Sequence of operations and sequence of steps is the same thing. So, when it talks about sequence of steps, it is talking about the sequence of operations. So, a graphical representation of the sequence of steps and the sequence of operations is called flowchart. It discusses, it goes on in more detail. You can read it through the slides. However, it just means that the sequence of instructions that are to be followed when they are showed in the form of a specific diagram, then those are called flowchart. And next, on the next slide, we will see a flowchart of a specific program that we have discussed before. Okay. So, if we are to move towards more concise definition meaning more precise definition, then we can say that a flowchart shows the logic of an algorithm. It emphasizes individual steps and their interconnections. I will explain. Interconnections means means that from which step you are going to which step, from step, for example, for step 1 to step 2 or 3 or 4, wherever you are going, those are the interconnections. And this is what it is explaining in the next bullet point. Control flow from one action to the other. Action is also similar to sequence. Action is also similar to step. It is the same thing. Different words for we are using different words for the same idea, same basic concept. So, on the left side, you can see the algorithm which we have developed the program for, and on the right side, we can see different types of diagrams which are connected with each other. I will describe each type of diagram and what it does. So, if we can see, we are starting from an spheroid or ovoid diagram or symbol. This is used for beginning or ending. You have to memorize these so that when the flowcharts of different programs come, you can make them. This is the input. This is the input. This is the calculation. This symbol is used for the calculation. This symbol right there is used for decision making. If you are trying to make a decision whether the number are less than or greater than a specific value, whether the person is there or not, you are trying to make any decision, you are going to use this diamond type of shape. So, if we are going to show the output of a specific program, then we are going to use this specific shape, which is a ovoid, but on the right side we have angles, and then we have the stop sign, and this is used for termination or stop. Right. So, if we see the algorithm and then we see its corresponding flow chart, then we can see except the stop and start, all of the other steps that are present in the algorithm are also present in the flow chart. We can see that the input is there, input of 4 marks, input of 4 marks is there. We are calculating the grade, the grade calculation is over there. We are making the decision, this whole part is being done over here, it is also present. Then we are printing, and then we are printing different type of either fail or pass. Okay. There is another flowchart which we have to discuss. This flowchart just takes the age of a specific person and then determines whether that person is whether that person is older than 55 or he is or she is less than 55. This type of age determination or age calculation or age requirement eligibility is usually checked in different for different purposes, be it for jobs, be it for some kind of scholarship or whatever. So if we even in this flow chart we see that we have a beginning and we have an end, and we have an input. We are taking the age of the specific person, we are making the decision. If the age is greater than 55, then we are printing no. If the age is less than 55, then we are printing not. And similarly, from the both sides, we are moving towards the ending of the program. We are moving towards the termination of the program. Okay, so whenever we are trying to give a program, write a program, and trying to solve a problem we are programming, we are trying to use some sort of a specific software. That specific software is usually called IDE or development console. So what happens in that development software is that we are using a specific language, and in each of these languages there is a process through which the program that we have written gets compiled and then it is used. So what is the compilation process? The compilation process is itself the processing of source code, be it in Java, .java, be it in PHP or C++ or C, and the creation of the object file. So overall, what is the compilation process? It is the conversion of your code which you have written, for example, in C++ or in Java, and we are converting it into object code so that it can be used by the computer. Okay. So the compiler will parse, it will go over the C++ code holistically in one go, and then it will check for syntax errors, or it will check for whether there are some problems in the logic also. Newer compilers usually do that. However, the older compilers only checked for the syntax errors. Then it says this steps does not actually create anything that the user can actually run. So what does that mean? It means that when the compilation process is ended, then something which you can click on it, like the other program, like the normal softwares, be it antiviruses or media players, you can run them. However, in the case of the compilation process, the actual file that is created cannot be run, and it cannot be used directly. So during the compilation process, we used different types of specific programs. One of these programs is called compiler. What does a compiler do? A compiler changes the source code high level language. Here by high level language, we do not mean English or Arabic or Urdu. Okay, and not those not natural languages. Okay, not natural languages. We mean high level languages of computer, like C++, C, Java, Python, all of those languages. Okay, and it checks for the syntax of the program, like I have mentioned before. Compiler checks the syntax of the program. It checks at a time all the program, meaning it does not check it line by line. It does not go line by line. It goes over the whole program in one go. So not line by line. Primary reason for, and what is the primary reason for compilation? We are trying to convert the code that has been written into an executable which can be run. So what are some of the examples of compilation-based languages? C, C++, and Java. Okay. There is another similar program which is called an interpreter. Let's discuss what the interpreter is. An interpreter is a program that executes the instruction written in a programming language and does not produce the executable file. Here we have to check the difference. With compiler, exe or executable. Interpreter, no exe. Okay, and it checks the keywords of the program. This thing is similar when we are talking about the syntax. Syntax is equal to keywords. This thing is similar between compiler and interpreter. However, there is another difference. It takes one instruction at a time. One instruction at a time. This is very important. One instruction, whole program. Okay, so we have whole program and we have one instruction at a time. And then we have the examples of interpreter based languages, for example, PHP, JavaScript, and Basic. Here you might be confused between JavaScript and Java. So JavaScript is a language, is a scripting languages for web. In the later courses, you might learn both of these languages. However, the Java language It is not a scripting language, it is used for Android development, for the programs that are used, for the software that are developed for your mobile phones, like the mobiles are different, the Android based mobile phones. Okay. So, what are the basic data types? What are the primitive? We also call them basic equal to primitive. Okay. So, we also call them primitive data types, we also call them basic data types. There are only really 4 basic types of data types in C++, and on the basis of these data types, other data types have been created. So, what are those 4 basic? Character, char, which is represented by character. Character, we have a character which are used for using or declaring English alphabets, using with English alphabets. And then we have integer, which can be short, long, unsigned. We have floats and we have doubles. Integers are just numbers, whole numbers. Okay. Floats are decimals, and doubles are can be used with both floats and integers. And you have to understand one basic thing, that whenever you try to save something, when you try to save a data type in the compiler or in the program, what happens is that specific data is sent to your RAM, and the specific data type is taking a specific amount of space in the RAM. So, how do we determine, how do we know how much space a specific data type is taking? So, when we have developed these programs, when we have developed these compilers, we have developed the associated memory with them. So, we can see here it is written, you can read it. I will just go on it by one. Character is the smallest data type, it just takes 1 byte. 1 byte means 1 byte. What is 1 byte? 1 byte is 4 bits. Okay. And then we have integer, which takes 4 bytes, we have short 2 bytes, we have long, float and double with their respective data types. If we are to convert this 4 bytes into bits, then whatever number we have, we will just multiply it by 4, because 1 byte has 4 bits. So, 4 bytes, how many bits? 4 into 4 equal to 16. And it also talks about that these sizes, they are different from one machine to another. For example, it might be on a 32-bit machine, the size of the integer might be different from a 64-bit machine. Okay. So, we have to discuss the characters in a more detail. What are characters? Characters are just used for determining, for assigning alphabets, punctuation, digits and other symbols. There are special symbols we can use. Use characters for special symbols, for alphanumerics, for different types of alphabets as well. And if we use a specific symbol, what does that mean, or how do we declare it? We declare a character by, in this form we use the keyword character char, and then we give it a specific name. This is a name, and then we determine what it is, what the value of it is going to be. If we are trying to move toward the next line, then we use this specific character. If we are trying to move over 4 tabs, then we are using this specific character \t. This symbol is called \. And if we are just trying to declare a comment or declare a comment specifically, then we use this /. This is for commenting. Okay. So, let us discuss the simplest of the, or the most commonly used data type, which is integers. The integers are used to encode numbers. Here it is saying it can't encode all numbers, because integers only has a memory size of 4 bytes. So, if we have numbers which are greater than, which are using memory of greater than 4 bytes, we cannot encode them using integers. This is what is the standard low level solution. The standard low level solution is to reduce precision. What does precision mean? Precision means, for example, we have a number 3.1459. If we are making it less precise, we are just going to take the first 2 numbers, first 2 digits. So, we have different solutions for dealing with integers. We can make the number which we are using less precise, but however, if we are making the numbers less precise, then we are introducing a number of bugs, or it might be a source of bugs. So there are two variants, signed and unsigned. What are signed? Signed are those integers in which negative numbers can also be stored. However, unsigned are those in which only positive integers can be stored. Okay. And then it says by using these modifiers short, long, 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 we can change the total memory size which a specific integer is taking. From the next slide onward, we are going to see some specific programs in the C++ language which you are going to learn in this specific course. Okay. So the first program which we have, on the first line you can see there is we have included a specific library which is the IO stream. IO stream is input, output, directive, or stream. It is used for giving the compiler an input or taking an output from the compiler. Okay, so now we are going to see a simple program in the C++ language. This program just takes an input, just displays a specific message on the console. So if we go over the program one by one, lines of the program one by one, we can see that the first line is showing hash include IO stream. What does it mean? IO stream means input output stream. It is used for displaying or taking input. Next we have a specific int main. What does int mean? This is a specific function, a driver function or the engine function, which you are going to have the main function, int main function, in every single one of your programs. Whenever you write a program in C++ language, you are going to follow the specific syntax that you are going to have a main program. The main program can have int return type or void return type. In this specific line, you can see that we are just cout. What does cout mean? Cout means console output. We are just displaying a message hello world on the output on the console. We are just displaying a message on the console. This program does nothing but it displays this simple message. You can even write your name. For example, instead of this, you can, if you have a name of Akbar, for example, you can just write it there in the quotation marks, in these two quotation marks, and your program will run and display Akbar on the console. Then we have the last line. Return 0. What does it mean? It is just used for, at this point you just have to understand it is used for successful termination of the program. Here we have another program. It is slightly more complicated than that. However, the things that I have already discussed, I am not going to discuss them. The only thing that needs to be discussed here are these two lines. Here we are declaring two integers. We have just talked about the integers. What are integers? Integers are used for storing numeric data type, and then we are declaring these here, and then we are taking the input from user. We talked about taking input from the user. By taking input from the user, we can assign specific values to different data types. Input from. One last keyword that I have to explain is the cin. Cin is, you might have guessed it, cin is similar to cout, cin, but it is the counter of cout. Cout is console output. Cin, what can it be? Console input. Today we discussed a specific introduction to programming slides, topics. In the specific topics, we discussed a few programs, pseudocodes, algorithms. We also discussed the basic theoretical knowledge of this unit. I hope that you were able to understand them. Thank you.